Hello everyone, my name is CPC Antimark, and a little fun fact about myself. My main in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is Steve from Minecraft. Now, if literally anyone were to have been brave enough to admit that just a few days ago, probably not even a week at this point, I would have been very, very proud of them and would have the utmost respect for them, mainly because of all the things that have been going on within the Smash community since SmashCon 2022. Today, our main focus will be all of the events revolving around the recent Ban Steve movements, which have since calmed down, and we're going to be talking about a few somewhat major events within the Smash community that have taken place because of the events at SmashCon 22's Ultimate Bracket. And yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums up what we're going to be talking about. So yeah, let's jump in. If you were to, about 3 weeks ago, have asked me literally anything about the competitive side of Ultimate, the only things I'd probably be able to tell you are names of big players such as SM and Spargo, and maybe a couple of matches that I've seen bits and pieces of. However, whenever I attended SmashCon just a week or so ago, I really did get a sense of everything going on in the competitive world of Smash, and it was really fun just seeing everybody coming together to watch matches like this, even rooting on the new professional players that have never really stepped foot in this kind of field before, except maybe local communities such as Onin, which ended up being the winner of the Ultimate Bracket. But yeah, it was just kind of fun to get a sense of everything going on. But of course, not everything in this world is fun and games, and this was definitely the case after Onin ended up winning Smash's Ultimate Bracket. That came out very weird. The Smash Ultimate Bracket at 22's SmashCon with Steve as his main, which honestly, I was very proud of that to see a Steve main win this bracket. Evidently, not everybody thought so, and this ended up leading to many people starting ban Steve movements in their communities and some very threatening messages to Onin through social media, which I'm not going to get into in this video. But for right now, we're going to stick with why exactly did everybody get so mad whenever Onin won the Ultimate Bracket, and what could have been done to prevent this kind of scenario from happening. So around October 15th or so, a couple of days after Steve came out in 2020, I believe, if I remember correctly, he was ranked mostly around mid or high B tier at most because of how viable he was overall, but how resource based he was and how easy it was to get him away from the ground where he had to be almost at all times to gather resources. So doesn't really look like an incredible character, but I ended up picking him up just because he was my most wanted character for Smash, and ever since then, I've enjoyed playing him, even though I'm not an incredible player myself. And I really didn't think that was going to be much of a problem at like competitions and such as, I mean, literally SmashCon. You saw all these Steve players. I saw quite a few, and I was really surprised. And I was like, oh, they're probably not going to get very far. I mean, Steve like isn't an incredible character. And boy, was I wrong. 9 Steve players made it to the top 64 in the SmashCon bracket, and one of them ended up being the winner, which was Onin. So I guess you could say it does really look like Steve gives players some sort of advantage that people aren't really seeing or can't figure out. Well, no, that's not necessarily the case. You can't ever blame a character for making somebody go so far, because as people like Little Z could probably tell you, every single character in that game, in Ultimate, in Melee, whatever game you want to play, depending on the player using them, they can be very, very overpowered. It really just needs a very good player to make or break a character. So people saying that Steve should be banned because of what happened at SmashCon and things that even happened a couple months before isn't fair really overall to, I mean, just Smash Ultimate in general. I mean, it's blaming their characters for what other players are doing or what they aren't doing. I'm not going to call out any names or say any players are bad or good. I'm just going to say what happened at competitive games like this was just situational, really. I mean, that's all competitive games are. So all you can really do is blame the events that ended up happening with the players in general. Again, not trying to sound rude there, but that's literally what games come down to. So, I mean, already this sounds kind of pointless, but it kind of gets a little worse. And the main reason I say that is because even after all this ban stuff kind of faded away, and I mean, not a lot of people are talking about that right now. Even a couple of days ago, people were asking, well, I mean, is Nintendo going to be rolling out some kind of patch, emergency patch for Steve to nerf him? Bro, he's already B tier. You don't need to nerf him. Again, it's the player that makes the character. Literally, you could take a quote straight from Fast and Furious. The car doesn't make the driver makes the car. It's the same thing in this situation. The character doesn't need a buff or nerf. I mean, unless it's Bayonetta and Smash 4, then they definitely need a nerf. But in this specific case, it is not really the character that is at fault here. And even if you go down to like the wabbing of Steve as a character, you can see like many things that can be done in situations, some of which happen at SmashCon that can kind of set you up to outperform Steve in those specific events. And it really does come down to, well, why aren't these people actually doing this information, this research themselves, instead of just sitting here complaining that, oh, Steve is broken. That's not fair. Just grow up, like do the research. Don't just sit here and complain. Do stuff about it. Like again, I'm trying not to sound rude whenever I say this, but it really just comes down to the two things that I mentioned. If you really want something to change, like look into it yourself, or I mean, literally just look at the fact that it's a character, it's a game overall, so people needed to chill out around then anyways. And I mean, it's really just depends on the player. Like all the players that made it into top 64 ended up outperforming some of the professional players. It's really, like I said before, it just depends on the situation. It's all that games come down to. You see it in competitive games, you see it literally in games. I could even go as basic to saying Angry Birds. It literally depends on what happens in the moment. Like, I don't think I could stress that kind of stuff enough. And I've kind of gone in a spiral here, adding more and more there, but I mean, that's really the best I can explain it, to be honest. With that being said, that's really all I have planned for today. I guess you could say, long story short, to sum up everything that we've talked about, Steve is not broken in any way, shape, or form. It's really what happens in the moment. I've seriously said that about 5 or 6 times now, I think. And Labbing could literally have just solved everything. They didn't have to complain this much and wait for things like Steve to be banned or Nintendo roll out an emergency patch. Why would I don't understand that part still. But yeah, it's really just kind of pointless for people to complain that Steve is broken. It's really not going to get anywhere. And as a Steve main, I can say that for a fact. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and listening to me spiral on and on for 5 to 6 minutes about why my main isn't broken and why my opinion matters. Uh, I will see you next time.